Welcome to my views and news. Viewers, Amhara People's Front has been established. I did a video last night. I shared with you Eskinder Nega's audio message. There are several questions. Who is behind the formation of Amhara People's Front APF? Will Eskinder Nega be accepted as the so-called leader of this Amhara resistance? Where is he based? Does he have support of all Fano commanders? What is Ethiopian diaspora's, Amhara diaspora's role in this new development? And how is Prosperity Party, Amhara PP, Amhara opposition parties, how are they going to tackle this new challenge? Is Skander leading political wing of the APF, or is he on the battlefield? Several questions. We'll try to find answers. Firstly, when Skander was released from prison last year, we saw that his politics became Amhara oriented. If you remember, I spoke several times back then. I said Skander's party was a federalist party, but he was restricting himself to the issues linked to the Amhara region. Maybe, and back then, if you remember, he was gaining popularity in the Amhara region. Opposition parties of the region like Nama and others, they were not comfortable with Skander's growing popularity in the region. He was seen visiting people displaced from Valaga and Debre Birhan. I remember he met with some journalists who were in prison back then. They were arrested because they were accused of supporting Fano. He met with Massafin. He went to Afar. He was critical of the TPLF, and if you remember, he opposed the humanitarian ceasefire announced by the government in 2022, when government forces refused to, they decided against entering Tigray. So he was extremely critical of TPLF, extremely critical of Oromia Prosperity Party, extremely critical of Fano, of Ola. But he was hand in gloves with the Fano fighters. All praise, he was all praise for Fano fighters. And then he went to the US. He returned, he said goodbye to politics. And message had been sent to him reportedly when he was in the US that he should not return to Ethiopia, that he could be arrested. But he came back. But after his return, suddenly he changed his course. He went missing, and now he is leading Amhara People's Front. Now, firstly, I have been saying that this Amhara anti-government resistance lacks central organization. It lacks a leadership. There was no central organization to lead the Fanos from Gondar, Gajjam, Wallo, Shoa. And there was no connection, one connection between all these Fano factions and diaspora. Diaspora is very supportive. Amhara diaspora is very supportive of Fano factions. And we have seen protests still ongoing in some parts of Europe, US, in support of Fano fighters against the government, Ethiopian government, against Prosperity Party, against Oromia PP leaders. But there was no one connection between all these Fano factions and diaspora. So there was need for this movement to have a central organization. That is why Skander has emerged now as a leader of anti-government Amhara resistance in the region. Is he leading the movement politically, or is he there on the battlefield? He's there on the battlefield. I think he's based somewhere in Gojam or somewhere on Amhara BG border. That's my speculation, you can say, based on some information. I don't have any credible information, but he is here in the region with Fano fighters. In Gajam, there was a vacuum because two top commanders, Fano commanders from Gajam, they are missing. Zamine Kasi arrested, he's in prison. Masri Shah has been missing for almost a year. When Ethiopian government launched an operation against Fano last year, both commanders went missing. Zamine Kasi was arrested, Masri Shah is still missing. So there was vacuum in Gujam for Fano leadership. Skander is trying to fill in the vacuum by projecting himself as the leader. Next question is, does he have support of all Fano commanders? Because now this anti-government resistance is revolving against Fano. Fano commanders have support of former Amhara special force members too, who have joined them. Is Masafinth, Gondar Fano commander, going to support Eskinder Nega? Is he going to support Amhara People's Front? Is Belat Shiga going to support Eskinder Nega? What about Yemere Vudajo? I have not seen any single statement from any of these Fano commanders. What are their views about this new central organization which is being established in the Amhara, claiming to represent Amhara resistance? By the way, we have seen several pages, several social media pages by the name of Amhara Resistance, Amhara Coordination Committee, Amhara Front, but all were social media pages. For the first time, we are seeing that an effort is being made to centralize Amhara anti-government resistance, and this resistance is taking shape. But important questions remain unanswered. Were all Fano commanders consulted before the formation of Amhara People's Front or Popular Front, APF? We don't know. We'll have to wait. And will these Fano commanders agree to work under Skander? Skander is not just political head of this wing, because we cannot say it's a political party, because if you remember in last night's statement, APF announced to establish local governments in the areas which are under their control. So it's state within state. It's like Ola now, Oromo Liberation Army. Ola, when it entered areas, it establishes local administration there. Just yesterday we reported about Ola-backed administration in Horogodoro. Same is being announced by APF. It will appoint local administration in areas under its control. And some areas are under its control, where there are thousands of Fano fighters being trained, organized. So it's not a political party. It's an armed group. Though they claim, these APF leaders claim, their struggle is political. Their struggle is for the rights of Amhara people, which are being denied. Skander is claiming to lead Amhara anti-government resistance movement. He has backing of diaspora. That is why Davut Wolde Georgis has been appointed as the head of foreign relations of this group. Davut is not based in Ethiopia, he is based abroad reportedly. And he is former DERG official. He worked as Commissioner of Emergency and Relief Department when DERGs were in power. And now he is foreign relations in charge of APF. It means diaspora is connected with Skander. We don't know about support for Skander from Fano. And I'm again saying, centers of power in Ethiopia when it comes to anti-government resistance are Fano commanders. They have armed companions, armed supporters. So they are making big decisions. Of course, ruling party is going to try its best to crush APF. It will try to arrest Skander. Opposition parties, claiming to be opposition parties, are going to be concerned as well. NAMA, National Movement of Amhara, claims to be an opposition party, though it's part of the government. Its head, Balatemola, is Minister of Innovation and Technology. But NAMA and other parties, they were never comfortable with Skander's penetration in Amhara, because they believed that Skander could steal the show in terms of being head of opposition, at least among people. If Skander's APF gains popularity, NAMA could face serious political challenges. It is already being accused of being complicit in PP's actions against Amhara people. So it will lose whatever it has left in terms of political clout in the region. So I would say that an effort is being made to give a shape to Amhara anti-government resistance through launching Eskinder Nega. Skander is ideal because he has political experience. He is staunch supporter of the rights of Amhara people. He has been working for the interests of Amhara people after his release. He is very critical of TPLF and Oromia PP. So he is ideal man to lead this movement, and he has political experience as well. Of course, mass offense isn't going to be acceptable for outsiders, for external forces, for international community to be head of this resistance. So you need a political figure to lead this armed resistance. And so far, there is no one in the region who can lead this movement better than Skander. But question is, will he be able to get support from Fano commanders, who are the pillars of power? That we'll see in coming days. But an interesting development in the Amhara region. Development shows views that there won't be peace in Amhara in Ethiopia unless there is engagement, negotiation, dialogue between the government and these Fano factions. And now Skander is the political face. At least Skander should be engaged. Talks should be held. That is the way forward. Otherwise, we're going to see a long anti-government resistance movement in the Amhara region of Ethiopia. Thank you for watching.